welcome back to Colorado Gives Day at Icosa Media. I am Steven Schaubman here with Pete Van Heuven from Bike Denver. How's it going?
Good, how are you, Steve?
Good. So I have had the wonderful pleasure of working a lot with you this summer, filming a documentary about bicycles.
Just a little bit, that's right.
It really is incredible what you guys are doing for the city of Denver. I really respect it. It's quite awesome. But could you tell everyone a little bit about Bike Denver and what it is that you do?
Sure, absolutely. So Bike Denver is Denver's bicycle advocacy organization, and we work to promote and encourage biking in and around Denver. And we do that because we think that living in a bike-friendly community and just having people out there using bikes more often for any reason, for recreation, for transportation, sometimes just for fun, really benefits all of our communities and all of us. There's so many terrific benefits to bicycling on just about every level, and when you think about it, a very simple instrument, the bicycle, is the solution to a lot of our societal problems right now. So that's individual and community benefits in health, with the environment, to our children, with our local economies, and just our quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So this rabbit hole goes quite deep, as I've learned with Bike Denver. It's not just an organization that
we
helps
like to
make
make you
bike paths.
work. That's right.
There's a lot going on. So you have a bike congress where you actually meet with a lot of people in Denver and start to try to strategically plan to make this a better bike city.
We do. So the Denver Bike Congress has a really interesting history. It began as a city initiative to help launch one of the first major bike sharing projects here in the U.S. And at the time it was called the Denver Bike Initiative. It was started by Mayor Hickenlooper and his staff. And we actually worked, it was one of our first sort of advocacy efforts. We worked really hard with city leaders and other nonprofit leaders to work through some of the problems and some of the solutions that we were going to have to find to help introduce bike sharing in a really tangible way in Denver for the first time. And when that happened, a nonprofit was formed, Denver Bike Sharing, and we started to finally see those red bikes out on the street and the kiosks. The question was, well, what do we do with this great kind of this collaborative and this initiative? And so Bike Denver, at that time, we took that over. We renamed it the Denver Bike Congress, and we expanded sort of the focus of that group, which was primarily at the time to help prepare Denver for the successful launch of bike sharing. And at this time what we're doing is we're looking at how do we increase safe bicycling in Denver for any reason, bike sharing, bike commuting, recreational biking. It's a group that's open to any member of the public. We have a lot of representatives from nonprofits that have an interest in biking, also from Parks and Recreation, Public Works, Community Planning and Development, the Denver Police Department. And we meet every other month to talk about what's going on, keep our finger on the pulse, and see how we can find those synergies and those opportunities to work together to really increase that safe bicycling here.
Yeah, it's incredible to think. I mean, bicycles, when they were first invented, it went from like roads were for people to walk on, then people started riding bikes on them, then we had vehicles, then roads became mostly for cars, and now it's kind of, okay, cars, now you have to share the roads again. The bikes are coming back, and it's definitely an interesting thing to see. But when you think about a bicycle city and that happening, where the bikes are coming back on the roads and now cars have to be thinking about it and sharing the roads, and there's bike lanes, when you talk about a city like Portland, that's one of the more ideal cities.
Oh, you had to bring up Portland, didn't you?
And Denver, that's a city that's just kind of in the beginnings of trying to do this. What does a city look like when you start to achieve your goals?
Well, I would say we're beyond just beginning to do this. I mean, I think Denver has really made huge strides since 2008 in the Democratic National Convention. They've doubled the number of bike lanes. We have that bike sharing system. And we really have, bicycling is booming in Denver. I mean, this is a really great time to be working at an institution like Bike Denver, a nonprofit like Bike Denver. But we definitely do have our challenges. There's no question about that. Denver was built when car was king, and so some of the tricky work that Public Works has to do is to take a look at, how do we move people around the city? And one of the things that we're really trying to do at Bike Denver is to change the conversation a little bit, so that we're talking less about drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, and we're really talking about people. So it's people who walk, people who bike, and people who are driving. And what I would submit is that most of us in Denver drive a car, usually almost every day. And most of us in Denver ride a bike fairly frequently, a couple times a month, a couple times a year, and almost everybody also walks. So it's really a question of how do we safely move around town, considering the fact that at any given time, most of us are going to have a day where we're wearing all three hats.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a form of transportation, it's a form of recreation, it's a way to get together with friends. I mean, places like Fat Tire, which has helped to, or not Fat Tire, but New Belgium, that has helped to support you guys.
Well, there is in fact Fat Tire at the New Belgium at the New Belgium Tour de Fat. You're correct on
right,
that. Yeah.
and so that was started because of a bike ride. So biking is such a big part of our city. But I guess one of the things that people deal with is if they ride a bike, they're scared of it getting stolen. But you guys provide the bike racks as well for people.
We do, yeah, absolutely. So one of our programs in community engagement, we work in these two areas in advocacy to impact sort of practices, policies, and laws that keep us safe and increase biking, and also community engagement, which is an effort to promote biking to wide audiences. One of the ways we do that is with a special event, a bike parking program. We provide basically pop-up temporary bike racks that people can use at large-scale events and festivals around Denver. The Cherry Creek Arts Festival is one of our big ones, and there are many others. And you are involved with another group called the World by Road Collective, so I just want to thank you again for the use of that fantastic Tundra that helped use our utility trailer, take our utility trailer around town and move those bike racks. But we had a great summer this year for that. We increased, I think, by 40% the number of bikes we were able to park at special events, and that just means that there are more people out there that are making the choice to ride their bike to a big event instead of drive their car. So it's a convenient thing. The event organizers are really beginning to clamor for this service, and it's nice to see that it's become so much easier for the average citizen to choose to reach for the handlebars instead of the car keys when you're going to take a trip on a weekend for a festival event, to go to the farmer's market, or for any of those other utility trips.
Yeah, it's I did have a chance to help Ryan when he was putting out the bike racks this summer for I believe it was the Taste of Colorado. And I think, it is strategic in the sense of the way the bike racks are right at the entrance, of course. I mean, obviously that's where they need to be, but strategic also in the sense of, for me, it's like before I was involved with you guys, you pass by those bike racks and you're like, oh man, I'm a jerk, why didn't I ride my bike? I drove down here, and it reminds you that you see all these other citizens that are riding their bikes, and you're like, maybe I should too. So I think that not only is it a service, but it's also a reminder to everyone that there's maybe a better way to get around town.
That's true. It's a nice visible reminder, and I'd forgotten about that, but that was the key reason that the bike parking program was started all those many years ago. You get so into the weeds thinking about how do we expand the program, but that really is one of the main things is to enhance the visibility of bicycles in and around Denver. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it certainly is an incredible thing that you're doing, and I think that for me to get involved with bike culture too, and watch it grow in Denver even through this summer and see all of it happen. I mean, what you're doing is I think changing the face of Denver. And I know Maggie in one of her interviews had mentioned how the auxiliary benefits of having a more bicycle-friendly city, how it changes people's lifestyles. Could you speak a little bit to how that would happen as bikes become more of a main form of transportation in a city? How
it changes their lifestyles? Well, let me talk about the benefits, I guess. We talked about that a little bit in the beginning, but in terms of the environmental benefit, one of the things that we know is that when people choose to ride a bike, for every mile that they bike instead of drive, that's 1 pound less of carbon dioxide emissions that is contributing to Denver's infamous brown cloud. And we know that as a health benefit, America's got an obesity problem, and if trends continue, we're going to see half of Americans be overweight by, I think it's 2020 or some very frightening soon date coming up, and the average bike commuter loses 13 pounds in their first year of bike commuting. That was a statistic that just shocked me. But that's definitely the case. For our children, we talk about our children. If kids are out there biking 2 times a week or more, we know they're less likely to be overweight. And we know in terms of quality of life, just that people feel this great sense of freedom. They feel more connected to their community. They generally feel less stressed when they're out there riding. And then there's the economic benefit to biking. So aside from your household economy and how much money you're putting back in your pocket when you're riding your bike more and driving that expensive car a little less, Colorado sees, I think, $1 billion come into the state economy as a result of bicycling. So pick a statistic, the bicycle's helping to improve all of those community benefits.
Well, that's really awesome. So one economic statistic is that you can buy a membership with you, which supports your organization.
Absolutely.
What do you get as a member of Bike Denver?
You get to feel great about changing your community, number one. You get to support the fact that a Bike Denver, a staff member, a board member, or supporter is going to be out there at that neighborhood meeting or at that city council meeting, raising their hand and asking those important questions about whether bikes are being accommodated as we help to transform our city. So you can sit at home in your pajamas and read People magazine and have a glass of white wine, and we will be out there taking care of business for you. So that's why you want to be a Bike Denver member. You do also get some pretty cool benefits. We have some terrific partners. So we get a membership benefit packet, and it includes some terrific stuff like a coupon from Illegal Pete's, from Wahoo's Fish Tacos, and you can actually find this out on our website, which is at bikedenver.org. We have a page called the Give Now page. If you just go right to that, you'll see all those benefits lined up for you there, and it'll make you feel great. In the mail, you get a super sticker, but most of all, you get to feel that you're helping transform the community by supporting the work to help make your local community more bike friendly.
And so, as people donate to you this year, what are the types of initiatives that you're working on in the coming year with Bike Denver?
So I have 4 things in mind I wanted to talk about today, actually, and we're sort of in that planning stage right now, but we are going to start hopefully to work with Safe Routes to Schools a little bit. We're partnering up, we hope, with Bicycle Colorado. There's a coalition grant we've put forward, and we hope to get into some of the Denver schools to bring that really important bike and pedestrian safety instruction to elementary school kids here in Denver. So that's one new area for us we're excited about. The second is I think we're going to go back and take a look at some of our city ordinances because we're pretty concerned about safety for our vulnerable users out on the streets. Denver has a little bit of a problem with hit and runs and some stories that we've seen recently in the last year and the last 2 years. And we know that our streets just aren't as safe as they should be for our vulnerable users, people who walk and people who bike. So we're looking at how do we improve our city ordinances to make sure that harassment is just not acceptable and that there are penalties to that. And there are a variety of other components to it, but we're really going to get back into the law, I guess is the way that I would answer that. The third thing is that we really think it's time for a public education campaign, and we're working with the city marketing office to see what we can craft over the course of the winter to release before sort of that really popular spring biking period to get the word out to everybody, whether it's people who are driving cars, people who are riding bikes, or people who are walking, about how we need to share our streets safely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I am a big supporter of Bike Denver. I love what you guys are doing, and hopefully everyone will be able to support you as well with Colorado Gives Day. The website is bikedenver.org, and that's where people can go to donate, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And we'll be back momentarily with some more nonprofits, but don't forget about our celebration this evening. Starting at 5 p.m., we will be serving wine, beer, and food with sponsors of Footers Catering, Barefoot Wine, and the Colorado Licensed Beverage Association. It's open to the public, and we're going to have some great entertainment there as well. So please invite all of your friends and come on down to the Icosa Studios. We'll be right back.